Game feels fun to play, just wish I didn't need to buy stuff. Yeah, I know. I just want more people to see what it's really like, you know? Because I think a lot of people don't really understand, like, what these kinds of games really look like whenever you play them with this, like, with this intent. Like, you hear about it, and it's like, okay, well, you know, this is kind of the way it works, right? But it's one thing to see it, and it's another thing, or to hear about it, it's another thing to see it. So annoying, people don't see what you're trying to do. Well, I think they just disagree with me. They think that I'm wrong, and that's fine. I think they're wrong. I mean, that's all there is to it. I mean, like, what do you do? You can't get mad and like stressed out and upset about stuff like that because people are you wrong? Well, no, the thing is, for me, is like, I'm gonna do it for like 2 reasons, right? Number one is I would do it because it's good content. It's good content, it's funny to spend money on the game and do that, right? And like, if it wasn't good content, I wouldn't do it. Like, that's what I do. I come on stream and I try to put on a good show and entertain people. Yeah, so that's the way I look at it. And I think that it's the same thing with like Lost Ark, where the majority of people like don't really care, they just think it's funny. But you have like a very small amount of people that are like super opinionated about this kind of stuff, that get like super angry about it. And I don't really want to make decisions and like decide like what I'm gonna do based off of like people that I think are being unreasonable or crazy. Turn it down a bit more. Yeah, there we go. Okay, that's a little bit better. There's always the loudest ones. Well, yeah, of course. A lot of people understand that, and there's only a handful of people that don't. Like, most reasonable, normal people understand that it's like, it's just a video game, it's just a show, it doesn't really matter, you know what I mean? But there's some people that kind of forget about that, and they try to turn like these games and, you know, like things you do on stream or whatever, they turn it into something that's like beyond just a game, and now it's like a statement, or, you know, like you're now no longer like a person that just does something for like whatever reason. You have to you know, like behave and think and act in a way that like reinforces like a worldview that they think that you have. And so it's like the more that you spend your time trying to make people like that happy, the more unhappy you will be, because a lot of those people are not really happy themselves. These are people who are just angry and just fucking like vitriolic and just crazy. And so like I try not to spend a lot of time thinking about them or worrying about them, because they're in a lot of ways like not really my audience. And a lot of times, like, you're always going to have people, like, whenever you do something that's like extreme or whatever, you're always going to have people that look at it from the worst type of way possible and get mad at you. If I did or did not, if I did things in order to make people like that happy, I would be unhappy. So it's like, I'm not going to do it because it's stressful for me. I think the personality of the people and like the kind of people that want that kind of content are, in my opinion, like very, very exhausting. Oh my god, look at all these mobs. But yeah, anyway, do you miss the times whenever you just played? I don't know. I mean, like, it's just, to me, it's like, I think that it's like one of the situations where like everybody is taking it more seriously than I am. And like for me, like, as I said, I usually do things that I find are entertaining. And like, if I think something's entertaining, I do it. And if I don't, I don't do it, right? There's not really a lot of like thinking about this, I guess. It's just that if I think something will be good content, then I do the thing that I think will be good content. Just a bit worried you might inadvertently be promoting Mabel gaming standards on PC. I hope that I am. I think that it's important to make it as bad as possible and to make it as ridiculous as possible, because I think that the faster that you do that, the faster you start actually seeing people that will expect to like make changes and see things. I think this is like kind of a general thing where I think people want a stream to be more than a stream. And it's like, I do make statements about stuff and I do try to make changes and everything like that, but people need to remember that, like, in the context, it is just an entertainment show, and it's it is just for entertainment and fun. And so, like, really is if that's not happening, then, you know, the whole thing is messed up. And so yeah, like my value system is basically like make sure that like things are as entertaining as possible for the audience, and then, you know, everything else is kind of secondary. I think some people might not like that because they feel like I should be speaking out against things or not supporting certain things or whatever, but I don't really think that really has a lot of impact. And I think if you look at the history with like pay-to-win games, etc., like a lot of these things, like there hasn't really been a lot of of changes that have been made historically because of you know, people like giving negative feedback of the game. People try doing the same thing that they've spent like years doing, right? Which is just like complaining, making YouTube videos, and like farming the outrage over the games. But like, I feel like at a certain point, it's like if you try something and it doesn't really work, maybe you should try something else and do something else instead. And I think that I'd rather take this other approach and, you know, turn it into content for the audience and do that instead. I also think that the more that the game is exposed to a large audience, the more people will be against it, I guess. People think I'm more pro because you're a larger viewership. The thing is, like, it's very foolish to believe that, because, for example, like, so think about it like with gambling streams, okay? So people get massive hate for gambling streams, right? Like they get massive hate for gambling streams. Like people are really angry about them, like, but they keep doing them. Like, why do they keep doing these gambling streams whenever they get massive hate for them? And it's like, this is clearly a rhetorical question. Everybody knows the answer to this. But for whatever reason, we like to pretend like that's not the reason. And so they're doing it for money, and I think it makes sense that they're doing it for money. But what I think is going to happen is that people get so mad at the streamers for doing it, but I don't think the streamers are, like, getting mad at the streamer for doing it is, in my opinion, ineffective, because they're not doing it because they're looking for people's approval. So it's like you're effectively taking something away from them that is not the reason why they're doing it in the first place. So for example, like if people didn't make any money off of gambling streams and sponsors, they wouldn't do them. I mean, that just kind of makes sense, right? So what does that mean? That means that if you allow yourself to do that, like you're fighting against something that is not effective, because you're not taking away the reason why somebody committed the action in the first place. So like you're trying to address something that's like, that's not the real reason why it's happening. Makes me feel better to shit talk someone who sells out. Yeah, but like the thing is, like, you can shit talk anybody you want. You do whatever you want to do, right? But like, do you really think somebody's not just gonna ban you? Like, why would somebody want somebody to just talk shit to them? Right? It's like, you've got to remember, like, you're nothing. Like, you're nobody. You're just like an asshole and like a name on the screen to somebody. So like, if like they see you talking shit, why would they want to deal with that? Yeah, why would somebody want to like willingly provide a platform for somebody who doesn't like them? It's like, it doesn't really make sense, does it? Like, I would say it doesn't. So I think this is like a delusion that like viewers feed themselves, is that you know, this is like a good thing to like shit talk somebody or whatever. But in my opinion, I don't really think it makes a lot of positive impact or anything like that. And also, like, I think it's kind of unhealthy to spend that much time like addressing things and like focusing on things that just like make you unhappy. Like getting mad, and like, it's the same thing as like on streams, right? It's like, you can tell like whenever streamers are in like a bad mental state, because like all they do is like they'll read and like get they'll be like visibly affected by like negative comments, right? Because it's just not something that's healthy or good for somebody.